I want to go to Jack LoMedico standing by right now. Jack, are you packing right now would be my question. Are you wearing a weapon as we speak?
I keep it under my pillow.
Okay.
Good.
And that's a nice message to send to everybody out there. You just keep track. Okay, so this controversy, it seems that we are nearing a primary, so everything that happens becomes a controversy. And this goes back to when? When was this meeting that is in question in regards to you bringing a gun into the North Utica Recreation Center or the Senior Center?
That was approximately a week ago.
Okay.
I just had I'd gotten out of work. I had run up to City Hall because we had another meeting, a finance meeting at City Hall. From there, I ran over to North Utica. I was late for the meeting because of the other meeting at City Hall. I went in there. You know, I still hadn't gone home. I still had my service weapon on, which I could carry anywhere in New York State because I'm qualified to. I'm a New York State parole officer. I could even carry my sidearm in New York City because of the position that I have.
Yeah.
So I walked in there. The meeting started. I got up. I addressed the audience really quickly about the budget. I sat down, and the former fire chief Brooks had gotten up and stated that I was there illegally. I had my weapon on, and so I said, "Well, I disagree with you, Chief." And I referred to the police chief Williams, and he says, "No, I had a right to be there." Well, no, he said, "Well, he never heard of any law that would state that I couldn't be there."
Yeah.
The former fire chief continued, and I said, "You know what? I'll leave. I don't want any problems." You know, we were there to address the people in North Utica about the upcoming budget.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't going to be about me. I wasn't going to let the meeting, take off about Jack LoMedico.
I want to. I
left.
Okay. If you could pick up, we have a tough time with speakerphone. If there's a chance that you could pick up the phone there, I would appreciate it. So I have somebody who gave a little input on here, and I'll read from the OD basically what the law says. Firearms, shotguns, and rifles prohibited at child care programs, and at that senior center in North Utica, there is a child care program. And it says, except that nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit a police officer, a peace officer, or a security guard from possessing a firearm. Your position would fall into that category. Shotgun or rifle on the premises for the protection of the child care program. But what this person is saying is that the police chief had that covered, which then meant that you were excluded from that. Do you, what's your take on that? You agree or disagree? I would imagine you disagree with that.
Does that statement make any sense to you?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
What you're saying, Jack, I think
sense because there's one person there in the meeting with a weapon, a police officer, someone else who also has the same authority as him. Actually, I have more authority to him to carry in New York State. Is excluded from being in the meeting. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and that's the reason I walked out. It wasn't gonna be about me. I had already given my talk on the budget. I just thought it was unfair. You know, Chief Brooks, he's been in public safety for 30 years. I've been in public safety for 25 years. We both know the law. And
Jack, can I ask you?
So I walked out.
Does it matter if you're on duty or off duty?
Well, you know, when you're a parole officer, when you're a police officer, when are you off duty?
I understand your point, but I'm wondering, does that matter? No. First of all, as a police officer, as a parole officer, you're dealing with the public on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. You know, the minute we walk out of our house, you know, we're involved with people on an everyday basis. I walk to Walmart. You know, when I go to Walmart, I go to any store, I'm running into parole officers, former parole officers, family members, and not all of them are all that happy with me because of the job I've had over the years. So, yeah, can I carry my weapon, my service weapon, anywhere I want? Absolutely. Do I carry it all the time? No.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, is this Jeff who's speaking?
Yes, it was me.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, I went directly from work to one meeting and then to the next meeting. I certainly wasn't going to put my weapon in my car because
Yeah, no, and
that's not anything. We would never leave our weapon in our car.
Jack, I was
and run into a meeting.
I was just wondering. I understand the point that you made. I was just wondering if by law, if it mattered whether you were on duty or off duty. That's all I was wondering.
Go ahead.
Well, I get calls. To be honest with you, I get calls 24 hours a day. The police have my phone number. Anytime one of my parolees gets in trouble, and they feel that it's important enough, they'll call me. I don't turn my cell phone off. My state phone is on 24/7.
Do you have a fear at times that people who might not be necessarily happy with you, somebody who wound up back in jail or something like that, have you had incidents in the past, and do you fear at times that something could happen?
Well, absolutely. I've had people come up to me. And I don't want to get into certain circumstances, but absolutely. When you've been on this job as long as I have, and you live in the city that you actually work in, you're going to run into people that are happy with you.
All right. I want to just ask you briefly, and I don't know how much you can talk about it, but the issue of this investigation into Durango and Marino. Tom Carcone, Utica Fire Department, said that he was there, didn't really see anything. The aftermath didn't look like there was a massive argument or physical situation between any of the members, including yourself. Your take on this has this reached the level? Do you feel it reached the level that should have triggered an investigation? And do you feel that this is more egregious than other things that have happened at Common Council meetings in the past? Even though this wasn't a council meeting, I get that.
I really can't talk about it because they're in the middle of the investigation.
Okay.
I could tell you that it did get a lot of. I felt it did get a little out of hand, but that's about as far as I could really say.
Verbally or physically?
But I'll just leave it there. I was not in the room. And when Mr. Marino and Mr. Durango
I can't imagine it's the first time that you've witnessed, though, and even though you say you didn't witness this, but tough language between two people at a council meeting or some sort of a meeting that includes the council. Based on what you've heard, do you think it reaches the level of something that's far more egregious than stuff you've witnessed in the past?
Once again, they're in the middle of the investigation.
All right.
And I certainly don't want to, stick my foot in there.
All right. And Jack, do you blame me for trying to pry? I mean, let's be honest.
I think that's your job.
That's my job.
And,
I got to ask.
I think you do a hell of a job, so keep it up.
Well, thank you, Jack.
I
appreciate it.
We'll follow up one more time then. What did you see?
They always say the third time is the charm.
I was out of the room when whatever happened.
Okay.
Right.
Fair
enough.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time this morning to give us your take on all of this, Jack. We do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for letting me speak today.
All right. Thanks so much. Jack LoMedico.